What's up, guys? It's your girl Stacey Cake, your host for What's Hot, and today I'm here to review The Conjuring Last Rites. If you guys have not seen this movie yet, oh my gosh, it's definitely something you want to see. It is the last installment in the Conjuring franchise. That's what they're saying. Don't know if I believe it, but we'll see. I was able to see this at an early screening and able to give you guys my review pretty quickly. So I'm super excited. Shout out to Allied Marketing for the opportunity. And I got to take a picture with Annabelle. Don't worry, not the real Annabelle, but an Annabelle lookalike. And it was a pretty dope experience. And I'm excited to share with you guys today my thoughts on the film. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and comment if you like this type of content. And let's get into it. Alrighty, guys. So, The Conjuring Last Rites is the fourth Conjuring. With it's obviously a lot more movies in the franchise of The Conjuring, but as far as the titles, The Conjuring, this is the fourth one. Um, and I'm gonna break this review down into pros, cons. I'm gonna share a couple of the most memorable scenes to me at the end, along with a review. So again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll get started with my list of pros. So I wrote down quite a bit of information about the storyline, things that I liked about the storyline. And so I love that they were able to incorporate Annabelle again in this final movie. They were able to incorporate a lot of references to the previous Conjuring films, as well as bring some of the cast members that we recognize from the previous films into this one. And I think that's a really nice touch, given that this is supposed to be the last one, the last film with Ed and Lorraine in it. And so one of the familiar faces I enjoy seeing was the cop from The Conjuring 1, the first Conjuring that got bit in the face by the mom. He was actually there and invited to Ed's birthday cookout. And we got to see him, and he still had the scar on his cheek from the first movie. So I recognized him right away. So it was really fun to watch and see some of those familiar faces. And they actually even had the women from The Conjuring 1 and The Conjuring 2 in this film. So they came through in the end in the wedding scene in the church. And the mom from the first one, she still looked possessed. I think they need to check her out again, but that's another story for another day. I also think the storyline was very layered, and they tried to incorporate a lot, which I can appreciate. They tried to incorporate what was going on with the Warrens into what was going on with the Smurls, and have it kind of all intertwined, where the demon was really after the Warrens, specifically their daughter Judy, and it wasn't really as much about the Smurls. So I like how they had the layers to it, as well as revisiting the idea that the demon was using other spirits as a facade, as a cover up from keeping Lorraine and Ed from seeing what was really going on. That was something that they experienced with Valak in The Conjuring 2. And I also really enjoyed how they built the relationship and allowed us to see the relationship between Judy and Lorraine, and just how their whole family dynamic worked with Ed, and just the references of like, I wish I could have lasagna. And it was because that was like had a double meaning almost, when Ed said that when Ed, Lorraine, and Judy were sitting in the restaurant. He said, I wish I could have lasagna after they ordered dinner. And it was kind of like a double meaning, because it was like he couldn't eat the lasagna because he was trying to eat healthy because of his bad heart, but also he realized that his wife and his daughter just had a supernatural encounter due to their sixth sense, their powers, and it was something he couldn't get in on. So just that, like, us being able to see that dynamic and how it impacted their family is something that's very interesting to me, and I love how they were able to kind of add some depth to the storyline and allow us to see some character development and relationships, because we really got to see Judy more in Annabelle Comes Home. We got to see her quite a bit more there, which I feel like they could have got that actress to play the older Judy in this one, but I know she's in another film that just came out, so maybe the timelines didn't match up when they filmed this. But I'm like, she's old enough; she could have reprised her role as Judy at this age. But yeah, the actress they selected did a great job. So that'll bring me into my next pro with the cast selections. I think the actress they selected for Judy did a great job. The actress they selected for Tony did a great job. The first person who I really noticed was the young man they selected to play young Ed. I feel like he mirrored Patrick Wilson like to a T, like even down to like it was a bit of a resemblance between them two. And the way he said hun to Lorraine, just he ate that role up. Like he ate it up. Shout out to him. I have to look up his name because he did a really great job at just playing young Ed. So again, all the cast really brought their A game to the screen. Another thing that I thought was great, as far as the writing was concerned, their ability to incorporate some humor into the storyline and just the script was a great job, especially Tony and Ed's relationship, and then just the whole discourse around the proposal with Tony proposing to Judy and just how it all unfolded. I just thought it was a great way to kind of condense the story so that way we didn't have to get like a separate scene of Tony proposing to Judy. So that just the way they thought about how to do that was just really well done and something that stood out to me. And it really touched the lover girl in me because Tony was just like, I bought the ring like a week or something after knowing her, and he was gonna propose after 6 months. And it's just like everybody, like I think deep down, like we all want that. Like that person is just like super sure and just knows, like you know when you know. And so like that's something I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to just experience that, because it really touched the lover girl in me. And I think it was just like a warm moment in the midst of the chaos. And they had a lot of great like I think some of these movies sometimes they show you so much of the horror that they don't give you much to lean on as far as faith. And I'm a Christian woman, so I love how in this movie the writing included and the storyline just included testaments of like how like God showed up and how he revived Judy in the beginning, and he revived her during the discourse of this film, and her mom were able to use their powers to stop. And like I just keep thinking about, I watch a lot of The Chosen too, that series, the Jesus series. So I kept thinking about when Lorraine was laying, God, please, Father, just bring her back. It made me think of when Jesus told the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years, he told her, your faith has made you well. Like that is literally what I thought about. And I think it was just so kind of inspirational and hopeful to see that in this type of film, and just how Ed and Lorraine's faith, because they were a very faith, I don't want to say super religious, but I guess super religious couple. So just them being able to incorporate it outside of in a positive way too. It was just cool to see. I don't want to ramble on too much, but that was one of my favorite parts about this movie as well. And I think with all of that, they were definitely able to build some emotion, which is from viewers, which was super important to me whenever I see any film. Like I want to feel what the actors and actresses are feeling. And so they really were able to build some tension here with waiting to see what would happen with Judy being born, with the initial things. And some of it was predictable, but it was very much still fun to watch. So they really brought a lot of stuff full circle with that, and were able to do some jump scares. Like, I think the thing that scared me probably the most wasn't even a ghost. It was when the daggone light fell from the ceiling on the Smurl's table. That actually made me jump. I said, ooh, like, because like we just having a regular dinner and the thing just dropped. So that part really made me jump. And then the demon being by the bed when it was about to attack Mr. Smurl. Yeah, that part where he looked down, that demon was down by the bed. I said, ooh, yeah, that was another one. So just their ability to incorporate some of those jump scares is always nice to experience in a good horror film. Okay, let's get into some of the cons. So I unfortunately felt like there were a lot of holes kind of in this film. I feel like we didn't get to know the Smurls much. Like, I feel like in the other Conjuring films, we got to really know secrets or things about the families that were impacted. Like, I felt really connected, or like I felt like I knew more about the families in the first two than, and even the third one with Arnie and them. I felt like we knew more about them, and we were able to connect with their characters more and feel like more of a emotional pull, or like desire, like sadness or empathy for them, than we kind of were in this film. Like, I felt like something was missing. Like, the I don't know if it was some like scenes, because they tried to, I guess they were trying to put the focus more on about Judy and Lorraine and them, and the whole thing with Father Gordon and all of that stuff. So we feel some emotional pull there, definitely, but I feel like I missed the connection with the Smurls. Like, I didn't really have a whole lot of empathy for the Smurls at all. Like, I mean, it didn't develop that in me. Like, obviously it was horrible what was happening to them, but outside of just that general like notion of what was happening to them, I didn't feel it really like a connection with the family. So I felt like something was lacking there. Getting to know them, that intimacy between the viewer and the Smurl family was kind of missing in this one to me. And they also didn't explain, so the whole thing, this kind of goes into one of my other points. The whole thing was, to me, was like, the whole point of this case was the succubus. It was, a succubus is like a demon that like attacks people sexually and stuff. And I was really looking forward to it being some more so I'm reading. A succubus is a demon in female form appearing in folklore and popular culture that takes advantage of sleeping men through sexual acts, often to drain their life force and grow stronger. So that was supposed to be the whole, like that was something that really stood out in the original, the real life case with the Smurls, that Ed and Lorraine Warren had looked up to. He had Mr. Smurl was attacked in his living room sexually by this demon, and I feel like we saw him get attacked. It was very vague in this movie, and they didn't really go into like what happened. It wasn't really explained or like touched on. I don't know if that concept, that term succubus kind of came later, and maybe it wasn't coined yet. But it said it was from folklore, so it had to be pretty old description. But I feel like they could have used that word or term and kind of explain what was happening a little more in the film. But maybe at that point, Ed and Lorraine didn't really know what it was, just based on the storyline. I'm thinking about it, but I feel like at some point, like, we should have heard that phrase. It should have been like a study or something. I don't know, maybe in the text at the end, just something like, oh, like once they found out about what happened to Mr. Smurl, them doing some research and be like, oh, it was a succubus. You know, something like, I feel like that was really the draw that was missing here, because especially for people that don't know much about this stuff, when you learn terms and stuff like that, for me, that's something that just gets me more invested and more clued in. It makes me feel like I know something, or I'm really like a part of the hunt. And so I felt like them leaving that out, like they didn't really explain that. And they didn't say what happened to Granny. She got knocked down the stairs. She never came back. It was just like some of those little plot holes for me. that I would have seen, you like to have seen kind of wrapped up there. And then I was trying to figure out, like, Lorraine was pretty far along with in the flashback. They had a flashback on April 20th, 1964, where Ed and Lorraine were helping with the case. And Lorraine was pretty far along pregnant. So I'm just like, why would you do your first case pregnant? Like, and then that far along, you weren't like, you weren't even like early pregnancy. You were pretty far along. So I was just like, that was kind of like, I mean, people do stuff, so it's not that far fetched. But it was just like, I was like, why would you do that pregnant? And it's just like literally changed the trajectory of everything. So yeah, those were my cons, I would say, for the film. That kind of just like drew me back a little bit. I would have just liked to see, especially those plot holes, some of those things that I feel like were holes that I just wanted to know more about, or feel more connected to certain things. But let's talk about some of the most memorable scenes for me real quick. So rapidly, the memorable scenes. I already said the proposal when Tony was asking for Ed and Lorraine's blessing to propose to Judy, and she walked in and the ring was sitting down, and then he was like dropped it and he was down on one knee and proposed. Super cute, super adorable. Hit the lover girl in me. The whole discourse, the whole exchange was just super fun to watch and engaging and funny and romantic and all the things. Loved it. The dressing room scene where Judy was in the dressing room trying on her wedding dress, and the use of mirrors throughout the movie was just a really great touch, because you know mirrors are supposed to be, are sometimes believed to be portals into like other worlds, and that's why they say don't sleep with like a mirror in front of your bed and things like that. So it was just interesting for them to bring that whole concept into this film. So the use of mirrors, those scenes with the mirrors were definitely like pretty interesting to me. And just how the mirror got broken and it made things worse. It was just very interesting. And also I feel like they didn't really explain the connection between, that's another hole. They didn't explain the connection really between like what the demons were doing to the girls and the other family members. Like, were they going to get possessed? Like, that's kind of seemed like what it was going to happen. But it was just like, I don't know, it was just weird stuff happening that I feel like I wish they would have addressed more directly. But anywho, another favorite thing, the Susie doll, when she was like, mama, crawling, and then the demon was the one holding her up. That was crazy. Lorraine in the basement with all of the blood. I knew from the trailer that scene was gonna be a hit. I really that was very memorable for me, because it just really felt like Lorraine was helpless, and then it was and especially because Ed was upstairs basically having another heart attack. It was cool to see how she was gonna get out of that, and Tony being the one to kind of step in and help her. And I feel like it kind of alluding to like a new man having to step up as Ed faced those health challenges. And then lastly, Father Gordon in the church. Bruh, that was probably one of the most intense things I think in the movie, because Father Gordon was trying to get help for the Smurls, and it's like he's in the church. I hate when bad stuff happens in the church, because it's just like us. It's like a scary. It's even more scary because it's like, where are you safe? And like his hand being burnt up by the cross, like, did he just imagine the receptionist there the whole time? And then he hung himself. It drove him to hang himself, and that looped back around to Judy hanging herself at the end. I really liked how they tied those things together. So, and the whole encounter with Father Gordon was just very eerie and creepy, I think, by him being in the church, and then the handle kind of turning. And another question I kind of have, and maybe it's just from my lack of understanding, was just like how the demon was able to like kind of be in all of these places and impact all of these things away from the actual house. But I know sometimes they say like when you have an encounter, things can follow you or be attached to you and stuff. So that's possible. But I guess I just don't know how it can be here and there at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know they were omnipresent. That's kind of even more creepy. Let's not get into that. But yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm going to rate this film 3.5 flames out of 5. It was good. It was good. It was not beating the first one, obviously. I don't think it was, I don't know, like the third Conjuring grew on me. When I first seen it, I was not impressed, but it grew on me actually quite a bit. And I don't know, like maybe this one will grow on me too, but I don't know if it's beating the first two. Like the second one, I was a little judgmental too, though. Not gonna lie, because I felt like it had some phony parts in it, the Conjuring 2. So it took me a while to embrace the crooked man, and I feel like they brought that back this time. They had Annabelle kind of like come like the crooked man, oversized and creepy and all that. So I'm gonna marinate on it a little bit. I don't mind saying I changed my mind if I change my mind later, but I think the movies were released in order from best to worst, literally. So I'm gonna rate this a 3.5 out of 5 flames, and I still would say like it was still a good movie. It's just like in comparison to the others, I just think they were released in the order that they were, like literally best to worst. But it was a really good film. If you are a fan of the Conjuring franchise, I would definitely recommend going and seeing it. You won't be like disappointed. Don't get me wrong. You're not gonna be disappointed. It was a good film. I'm just like a little desensitized. I always warn people. It takes a lot now to kind of get under my skin or like really make me like, ooh, that was scary. So like, take that with a grain of salt, but my opinion on that stuff with a grain of salt if you are newer to the horror genre or if you're just like getting into this franchise. But yeah, great film. Make sure you guys go see it. I'm rating it a 3.5 out of 5 flames. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and comment for more content like this, and I will see you guys next time.